right now. Get the fire right here, right now. Like a tiger rider, like here, right now. Get the fire, bam.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Weekly DADCast. I'm your host, as always, James from Parts Unknown, waddling in with the power of 1,000 man-children. I'm brought to you today by Luis, the Game Master, who can decide your fate at the roll of a dice, and Jacob, a new guest, the infamous Lolly Snatcher, copping 5-year-old since 2002. Welcome, gentlemen, to the Weekly DADCast, episode 4 of Season 2. Today we have a fan question. Tyler asks, what is your most anticipated game of 2019?
Oh, geez. Can we put a parentheses S at the end of that?
Yes, but I want a real answer afterwards.
Oh man, there's so many.
Yeah,
There's
only
so
one is
many.
rough.
Here, I'll start us off. My first most anticipated game of 2019 was Resident Evil 2 Remake, because I never played the original. And damn, it feels just like I'm supposed to be playing the original. That game is fucking amazing, and it just came out with some DLC called Ghost Survivors, and that
It
shit's
already
great.
came out with DLC?
Yeah, it was free DLC. It was free DLC called
okay.
Ghost Survivors. Basically, there's a few side characters you see in the game that they're only there for like a minute, but
Before they die horribly.
Exactly, or implied death. And one of the characters is already dead by the time you see her. And Ghost Stories is supposed to be like a what if they lived, and like how does that play out? And
That's
it just
interesting.
It is, and it fleshes them out a bit, and each story has a different style to it. There's a new enemy type with each one, and there's a secret fourth Ghost Survivor that is literally just it's fight until you can't anymore. You have to, and it gives you a goal. You load in, and you see at the top it says 0 out of 100 zombies, and they're on either side of the building. It's
current objective, survive.
Wait, that's cool.
Yes, literally. Yes, literally current objective is survive.
So it adds more of like the gameplay aspects of, shooting and stuff rather than the story based.
Yeah, exactly. That last one is like the most bit character. He shows up in the next second he dies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very clearly a what if, because it doesn't make sense, like, in how he died, like where did all these zombies come from, and why weren't they there when you showed up at this location?
Mm.
But it's still very fun game mode. They also came out with the what were they called? They were the low poly models, the original low poly models that you can now play as. Yeah, they're costumes, and you can just switch into them, and it looks so ridiculous.
That's nice. That's nice.
And the best part, it's only Leon and Jill, or not Leon and Claire, that change. Nobody else changes. None of the zombies.
They did a really good job with the remake, it sounds like.
Oh, dude, it's so good. They absolutely captured the original vision of the first one of the original.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing that a lot from like Pat Boyven from the Super Best Friends, or like Castle Super Beast as it is now. He was obsessed with RE2 as a kid. He's been the game each way like 8 times and stuff, and then he did the same thing on launch with the remake. He knows all the little tricks and shit.
Wow.
It was he says it perfectly captures exactly how he played when he was a kid. And
that's really cool to see people like that, getting back to their roots. I always like to see that nice nostalgia factor.
Yeah, and people have been begging for that remake since Resident Evil remake came out on the GameCube. So it's really cool that the way when you play it, you can tell they learn all the stuff they've learned from all of the other games, even as far as Resident Evil 7, how they've learned and changed the game, like because in classic RE games you have the stationary camera in one specific angle, right? But now you change to a 3D game with a third-person perspective, and you can see how it's like the whole layout of the map has to change to suit that, because you can't just rely on the singular angles anymore, because now your control scheme is completely different. And the way they did that with enemy placements and the the design of every part of the area. You can tell that they really knew exactly what they wanted to do with this, and I'm really happy that they managed to do it. I was really happy when it was announced that it got greenlit. The guy that was the head of it, who was really campaigning at Capcom to get the RE2 remake started, he had a shirt on, and he unbuttons this shirt and pulls it out, and he's wearing a different black tee that says RE2 remake, we do it, and he's like, we do it, and it's like, yeah, we do it, and they really did do it. It's such a good game. Now the next Capcom game I'm looking forward to comes out in March. It's Devil May Cry 5. Been waiting on that since Devil May Cry 4 came out. Because wow, fuck, dude, it looks so good. It's using the exact same engine as Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 7. Looks gorgeous. Character designs are fun. All the weapons I've been seeing look great. The music is amazing. It looks great. I can't fucking wait. I can't wait for that
Devil
game.
May Cry is one of those game series where you know it's just going to be really, really fun and nice to play.
Yeah, there's and even like the only really actually bad DMC game is not the reboot from Ninja Theory. It's Devil May Cry 2. That's the one everybody will tell you to skip because it does not feel good to play and it isn't a good Devil May Cry game. As soon as you touch the controls and you like, the big problem with it is that, Dante has guns, right? But the thing is the guns are never too powerful. They're not supposed to be your main weapon, but that's what they are essentially in Devil May Cry 2. And there are entire boss fights where you have to rely on the guns to shoot. And
so it was just a different take they tried to do, and then it just flopped, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. What it was so Devil May Cry 1 was developed by Kamiya, who people would know from Platinum Games, who, the guy who made fucking Beautiful Joe, the guy who made Okami, the guy who made Bayonetta. That guy, he made Devil May Cry 1. But then
that's why. Okay. Yeah.
And well, here's the thing though. What people really like about Devil May Cry now is stuff that came in Devil May Cry 3, because that was also made by a different team. But Kamiya wasn't called on he wasn't called on for Devil May Cry 2. They brought in a completely different team. And then that team was failing really hard. And then they called in, I believe his name is Itsuno. And Itsuno was like, fuck, there is like nothing done for this game. Like, they were really close to release date, and there was barely anything. They had to scrap a whole bunch of it and just pull stuff together. And Itsuno was like, please let me make Devil May Cry 3. I don't want to be known as the guy who made Devil May Cry 2. Like, that was his legit
and then he
reason.
redeemed himself.
He did. Devil May Cry 3 comes out with just it's the beginning of the series chronologically, whereas Devil May Cry 2 was like the end of the series. And then Devil May Cry 3 comes out with all these cool, unique weapons. The combo system's revamped. There's style switching. That's a big one with Dante as the character and having style switching. That was like one of the biggest ones. One of the biggest changes, I'd say. Then you have just that's where Dante gets his like really Yahoo funny pizza fun time attitude from, because he's like 16 in the game, right? And he acts like he's a 16-year-old with super godlike powers, where he's like surfing on top of a missile launcher while he's fighting like after he just killed Cerberus at the bottom of a tower. And that Devil May Cry 3 kind of took the things introduced from Devil May Cry 1 and tuned them and made Dante more of his own of a character. Devil May Cry 1 has some stuff with character for Dante, but it's a lot more serious and like dark humor almost in some aspects. But Devil May Cry 3 is like just wacky. It's wacky and it's fun. And that's kind of where the tone went for every other Devil May Cry game since then. And that's very clearly still here in Devil May Cry 5, and I like that. Even though it the graphics have like kind of this like darker mood aspect to it, like they're still very much like that fun loving vibe. There was a thing, so there's a new character that was introduced in Devil May Cry 4 named Nero, and there was Dante's brother who was introduced in Devil May Cry 3. His name is Virgil. Virgil, Dante, and Nero all represent different kinds of rebellion, essentially. So Dante is like rock and roll rebellion, right? Like your classic, just sex, love, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Even to the point where in Devil May Cry 3, one of his weapons is literally a guitar that you can jam out on and like rip sick chords on it.
Yeah, not very subtle with that, were they?
Not at all. And then Virgil, his brother, is like the opposite, and this is where like a Japanese red oni, blue oni aspect comes in. Virgil is very calm and collected, but he still has some humor to him. When Dante does a quip, Virgil doesn't just go, "Ugh, no, I'm too good for this." He actually like has his own dry British humor. He's even like he's even voiced by like he has like an English voice to him.
So they all have depth, is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely, they all have their different levels of depth. But like their attitudes are still all focused on a sort of like rebellious attitude. So Virgil's is like he's like the preppy jockey, like preppy kind of guy. That's his deal. And then you have Nero. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what Dante's like the surfer dude. Nero or Virgil's like the prep dude. And then Nero is like your punk rock guy. He's like the fuck you dad, and the like when you first see him, he's jamming out, he's like listening to music in church, like he's got his headphones on and his music is blaring through the sermon that he's supposed to be listening to.
Yeah,
that's
I'm guessing
his
you
character.
put a lot of time into the series, correct?
A little bit, I might have put in some hours, some days, and
some
then
years.
It's whatever. And then you have the new guy V, who is goth to the extreme, to the point where he's got like tattoos all up on him. He wears black, all black, long black hair. He looks like Kylo Ren actually, but like, and then like he's reading off fucking like in his introduction video, he's like reading off of stanzas from like goth fucking poetry, and he's reading poetry as he fights, and it's so great. All of the characters in Devil May Cry represent some different aspect of like attitude and stuff. It's cool. I'm really excited for Devil May Cry 3, and I hope that was enough time for you guys to develop 3? An answer for your.
Devil
May Cry 5.
The minute I heard the question,
5, yeah.
The minute I had the question, I knew I was going to answer.
All right, well, somebody pass it off. Somebody take it from me because I could talk about this forever.
A game I'm looking forward to very much it's actually coming out in May, is going to be Total War Warhammer 3 Kingdom. Sorry, not Total War, Total War 3 Kingdoms, which is a Total War variant on the Three Kingdoms period of the Han Dynasty. And they are taking a lot from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms novels, which, if either of you two know, or if you don't, and for any reviewers who don't know, is probably the
is that where they were they inspired? Were those novels inspired by Dynasty Warriors?
Dynasty Warriors was inspired by Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
That was the joke. That was the joke. James,
there's so little I actually you actually didn't.
I didn't know. So I'm
especially when it concerns history, as we saw during the World War II.
Listen.
Oh no.
But in any case,
I can't imagine how that went.
So the premise is so Jacob, and for the viewers, around 200 to 300 CE was when the Han Dynasty of China had fallen, essentially. Okay. And then in this short period between the Han and the Jin Dynasty was this very intense era of like warlords vying for control of China. This was known as the Three Kingdoms, mainly because there were three major factions that would arise and would war for quite a while until they eventually were destroyed and taken over by the Jin Dynasty. And Romance of the Three Kingdoms was a very large novel set based on that, where it heavily romanticized certain people in there. And then Koei Tecmo took that and made Dynasty Warriors, which was, they took the romanticized people and then threw them through the fucking anime machine. And then now we have a Total War game based in that period. And there is just so much stuff that they've done right with this game that I'm really looking forward to. So the main complaint for the Total War games, like the most recent ones, was that the battles were super fun, but the campaign was super lacking. Diplomacy was super bare bones. There was nothing like really nice to look at on the campaign. You were just like mashing end turn. There just wasn't a lot to do, you know?
So
but now
it didn't have anything.
yeah, like
It's
aside from the
very shallow.
battles, which were super well done and fleshed out, and like the different races and Warhammer,
It just didn't have anything else.
it didn't really have a lot of anything else. And
Yeah.
they started spicing it up towards the end, but even still, the campaign is the weakest part of the Warhammer games. But now we're in here where it's the exact opposite. The campaign is super well fleshed out. The diplomacy is super expanded upon. There's a bunch of interconnected things with that. They added 2 modes: records mode, which is for people who want to play before Warhammer, where like the legendary heroes were one whole unit, and they were just like the one guy who can kill multiple people, and just go back to the general and their bodyguards, or the romance form where it is like that. And they just filled in so much historical detail and great shit into the campaign. The research tree looks great, and it's looking really nice. The downside is that the battles kind of took a bit of a hit.
Yeah.
But again, I'm fine with that, because as long as I'm involved in the campaign, then I'll really get into it. And as a huge Dynasty Warriors fan, I am super excited for this. Some of the most memorable things that have happened in that period affect us to today. Like, Guan Yu is the god of war in the Chinese pantheon, and he was from 200 to 300 CE. He fought so well, he became deified. He became a god of war. China made a 1,320 ton statue of him out of bronze.
Oh,
That you can look up. It's fucking massive.
do that right now. What's his name again?
Wow.
Guan Yu, Guan space YU. Look up and then statue, and then it'll be the first one. It's fucking massive.
All right, cool. I didn't know that.
And then you can even see him in a whole bunch of video game adaptations, because he's kind of like Sun Wukong in the sense that he's pretty much in every single game at some point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, where does Liu Kang come in?
Liu Kang is...
That's a big ass statue. Holy fucking shit!
It's huge.
I mean, he said it was massive.
Jesus Christ!
Hey, that's what you get for being deified.
Apparently, goddamn.
Also, it's full. I actually started reading Romance of the Three Kingdoms. But in any case, there's just a bunch of like, in addition to the cool shit that happens here, there's a bunch of funny stuff. Like, there's at one point where a general for a man named Liu Bei goes to save his son because they're retreating from a massive army in the north, and Zhao Yun, that's his name, finds the baby back at the palace, and so he picks him up in his swaddled clothes and then ties it around his chest, and so he has him like right next to his breast, and he has his spear out, and he rides out fighting endless numbers of troops to try and get back. And then when he presents the baby to his lord, he goes, "You idiot, what are you doing? I could have made another baby, but if I lost you..." And so he exemplifies that by literally dropping his child on the ground.
Oh gosh.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Now, for that time period, that's very striking, as like this person valued the general more than his own family.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to have those heirs.
Yeah, you can't.
Well, he also, it was technically kind of true. Like, he could just have another child later, but this legendary general,
it's only really one of a kind. Yeah.
Yeah. Total War 3 Kingdoms, really looking forward to that. Another game that I'm not sure if it's coming out this year or not, because the people who are developing it have been kind of like wishy-washy about giving a hard due date, but I'd still love to bring out, knowledge of this game, is a Phantom Brigade, which...
I'm not familiar with that one.
So, it's for people who like games like XCOM, and for fans of the Total War... not Total War, Armored Core or Zone of the Enders fans. It is a It's a squad-based, turn-based mech game. You
Okay.
are part of a squad called the Phantom Brigade, and you are a bunch of rebels rebelling against like this sort of oppressive regime that has taken over this spot. And you fight them with your mechs. And when you go into a mission, it's turn-based with your mechs attacking, doing your objectives and such. And it looks really nice from what they've shown us. They haven't shown us much because again, the game is very early in development.
Mhm.
There were some rumors about it coming out in 2019. Again, I'm not sure, but I just want to bring up like awareness of it because it's really, really nice looking. One thing that they brought up was that you found two, and this was a completely randomly generated mission, and you got two guys who had like little dialogue with each other, and they said that dialogue is completely randomized. One of the guys escaped, whereas his partner died. So the developer said that person will now show up in a later mission angry and upset at you, maybe with an upgraded mech saying, "How dare you killed my partner?"
Oh,
Mm.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I like games that do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it definitely does make you be conscious of your choices because they could always come back later.
hmm
Yeah.
Or it'll be like something that bites you in the back.
Yeah, yeah.
Way later on, it was like, oh, or they said like create a rivalry because this guy went to the extra training to try and beat you, that he's going to be harder to kill or more likely to escape. And then if he escapes,
Oh,
it's
so you
gonna get
mean the
even stronger.
Nemesis system from Shadow of War?
In a way, except the Nemesis system was very personally focused on the orc themselves. They didn't really react much to people around them dying unless they specifically had a connection. So an orc in Shadow of War / Shadow of Mordor wouldn't really give a shit about another orc dying unless it was his blood brother or if it was like his rival. But other than that, they didn't really care. But in this one, they might like each other a bit, but that sort of feeling of revenge. But in any case, the Nemesis. Hey,
It'll still affect him.
I am always happy with games that choose to use the Nemesis system with things.
Yeah, because it feels like you're actually, playing the game instead of just being like running around and having no consequences for your choices. It adds another level of depth to the game itself.
I'm living my life at a point where I have an actual Nemesis system going on. So it's
You
pretty
mean
nice.
with the you wanting to fight every single person in the Discord?
It's not that I want to fight every member of the Discord. It's
You
that
just
I
happen to
have
piss
to
them all
fight.
off.
I have to fight. It's the only way I can learn.
I mean,
And if I win a fight, then you have to respect me.
is that see?
You
That's
say
the
that to
real
someone who hasn't
reason.
won a fight yet. You say that as someone who hasn't won a fight.
But that's
If
the
you
real
ask
reason.
If you ask Stewie, I did win the last fight, but we'll see on the rematch, so it's fine.
He needs to hold on to that last bit of hope that someone will respect him in the server.
The idea is that when I lose, if I lose really hard, that's gonna knock the sense into me. That's like, okay, now you have to actually change because this doesn't feel good. And then if I
Why
win
don't
the
you just
fight,
change now instead of waiting for
doesn't
someone to
feel
beat your head
good.
in?
because it's hard, Lewis. It's hard to change.
So you only want to change after you've had such crushing evidence that you actually collapse?
I mean, it's me, right? Like that seems to be the only way I make the change.
Okay, Jacob, what about you? Your most anticipated game this year?
Gosh, my turn now, huh?
Yeah.
You guys went on for like forever, and I'm just like, I don't really.
Yeah,
I'm just
we went
looking
on
up.
forever,
I'm just
so
looking forward to the next Osu update. I heard I heard they're gonna add a new song.
I'm just looking for more ranked maps. No, I mean, yeah, I just want more ranked maps. My favorite Japanese songs,
I heard there's gonna be a new event in my gacha game.
Oh, that's
gosh,
good.
that's actually pretty funny because
Oh,
there was a
God.
new event in my gacha game.
Oh, god damn it.
Which one? Which gacha game and what's the event?
Oh, it's they're doing like an event a week now because they're trying to catch up to the JP version. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's ridiculous. It's called Azure Lane. It came out like
Oh,
Yeah,
2017.
I know that one.
Yeah, it came out like 2017. It's pretty fun. It's like
There's
a mobile game for Cancoli. About it.
Cancol. Okay. Is it pronounced Cancoli? I've always pronounced it Cancol.
Actually, it might be Cancol
Okay.
because I've
'Cause
never
just-
heard anybody say it. Usually, I hear people call it Contact Collection, which is probably what I should
Oh,
have
that-
called it.
Yeah. Oh my. That's
Did the same thing.
My brain never made that like I knew that Kantai Collection was the ship thing, and I knew Cancol was the ship thing, but I never made the connection that those were
Okay.
the same ship thing.
I believe Kantai Collection is the anime. Cancol is the name of the game that the anime was based off of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no dodging around this question. What game are you looking forward to?
Yeah. What
I
game? What game? Tell us what game it is, Jacob.
I guess if I had to like.
Sorry, ma'am. Could you speak up? Could you sit up, please?
I guess if I just say it's not really looking forward to because it just came out, but I do want to buy it when I do get enough money. It's God Eater 3.
All right. So God Eater's the like Attack on Titan style thing, right? What am I
Mm,
thinking of? Where you attack
The Attack on Titan game?
No, okay, there's the Attack on Titan game. But no,
yes.
it was there was some Japanese game where you were in a prison, and like it was one of those things where it's one of those prison things where like you do the most minor of things, and it's like you get like 18 years more in prison, right? It's one of those. So like it's like, oh, you didn't you didn't pay for the ability to breathe openly in the public, so now you get 20 years until you pay for that.
No.
Okay, do you know what I'm talking about though?
I have no idea what you're talking about, actually. It sounds super interesting, but that's not
It-
God Eater.
Okay, it was some anime game I had heard about like 2 years ago when Liam was still on the Best Friends
Hmm.
podcast.
That sounds pretty interesting, actually. I might have to do some research on it. But back to what I was saying. I haven't actually played any of the God Eater games, but I know a lot about them and like how they play and what characters are in there because I watched a lot of videos. But they're all like $60 games. But I heard God Eater 3 that just came out is the best one out of the series, so that's the one I'm gonna put money towards to wanting to get. I did, however, watch the anime as well, which was pretty good. I didn't have any like Attack on Titan esque feel to it, like you were saying, but
Okay.
it was
I know there's some anime game that
yeah.
has like where you're fighting kind of giant stuff. Maybe not necessarily in the same level of like Attack on Titan giants, but there was something like that
Yeah,
in
to
some.
summarize it quickly, the anime it's like apocalyptic. So take like Darling in the Franxx, but without like the mechs and all that. Instead, they use like alienized weapons.
Okay.
Um, and they fight the big creatures like Darling in the Franxx has and then they have to fight them with these weapons, but these the weapons and stuff they kind of like kill them. It
Okay.
it's it it- it's very similar to Darling in the Franxx. Now that I think about it, it just doesn't have the mechs in it.
I gotcha. Okay.
I liked the anime, and that's kind of what got me into wanting to get the God Eater games.
Hmm.
Because
How
I've been
much is
enjoying.
it? The new one?
That's what I was saying. It's 60. They've
Oh,
all
jeez.
been like that's what I was saying. That's why I haven't really got any of them because they're all 60, and I'm like, oh god, I don't have a job.
You know what? You know what isn't $60? Pirated
What?
content.
Uh, yeah. See, last time, quick story. I pirated a game. Last time I pirated a game, it was a
You're going to
Trojan
jail,
horse,
son. Oh, fuck.
and I was like, "Hey, I really like this game, but I don't want to pay for it." So I went to go pirate it, and it was Kingdom New Lands, and I
Mm,
played it a lot, and then I figured out it was a Trojan horse later, and I was like, "Awesome, never
yikes.
pirating again."
Man, that's why you got to know about the skulls, dude. The skulls are key to knowing what is and isn't a Trojan horse. Like I almost like very rarely, if I really need something like if I need a copy of Microsoft Office, like
Hmm.
um, and it doesn't have a skull on it, it's like I can't trust it. But if it does have a skull, that's how I know. Okay, that's either if that's a some sort of verified user that Pirate Bay has actually gone and been like, yeah, no, they're good. You're good. Don't worry
Uh-huh.
about it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, if it doesn't have that skull on it, like just don't unless it's something you like need or it's like a really niche thing. Like I remember I pirated some random software that was super uncommon. There was only like 3 torrents, and they were all fucking no skulls, right?
Oof.
And but I see one has like a shit ton of cedars, and I'm like, well, there's no comments on it, but a lot of people are seeding this. I'll risk it, and I didn't get a virus, but I took that risk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
just
then there's a lot of things to that as well. See, the thing is, it's like, why don't people just comment on it?
because you need to make an account, and like going through the effort to make an account for
Oh.
Pirate Bay is like,
Ooh.
why?
Yeah,
Like,
that makes
You
sense.
even see some people in the comments are like, I made an account just to comment that this is bullshit. And it's like, okay, thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
Thanks, bro.
they should put in like an anonymous commenting system.
They
Commenting
should.
system.
Yeah,
That would help out a lot.
it would. But
That
then
would
if it's
save a lot of
anonymous, then
people.
it's like, well, how can you trust it? How can you
So
trust that?
aside,
How can you trust anybody that comments on it?
How
I
can
just
you
wanna
trust
say-
anybody blank?
so Jacob,
Yeah, true.
Jacob.
Hmm?
So aside from God Eater, what other game?
Oh, what?
You have any other games, Jacob? Come on.
Not
What
really.
about
I mean,
what about
I
Lolly Snatcher 5?
I really just stick to what I play. Like, I only stick to a couple of games, like Osu, Battle Rate. I
Apex
got it.
Legends.
Not even. I only, like I
I
said,
know.
I only played that. Guild Wars 2, and that's about it. I mean, just those
By the
three.
way, I just got to say I have to give the maddest of respects for the Apex Legends devs for doing the ultimate big brain marketing strat of not marketing their game to market
Dude,
their game.
I know. That was ridiculous. Like, I didn't even hear about it, and then one of my friends just messaged me. He's like, dude, download Apex Legends. And I was like, what the heck is that? And then I got it, and
Well, they didn't have to, because as soon as they heard people heard that, oh, this is made by Respawn and it's in the Titanfall universe, but it's not Titanfall 3.
it
That was
blew
it.
up.
That's
blew
all
up.
you needed.
Yeah, no, but
Uh,
that's what the developers like talked about. That they said, listen, we didn't market it because A, we're Respawn Entertainment. 2,
yeah.
we're Respawn Entertainment. B, this isn't Titanfall 3. C, this is in the Titanfall universe.
Yeah.
And
That's all you
D,
needed.
this is being published by EA. There's no way we're not gonna get good press, so we're just gonna fucking release it and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that did it better because it didn't hype up anyone's expectations.
It did the
Everyone's
opposite, where people were
Nobody-
mad.
Nobody had any expectations for the game, so when they went into it, it was completely new, which I feel like was a really good boost to their,
Like they
game
had
itself.
no hype to be anti-hype.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I
What
know
was it,
there's
25 million unique players in the first 3 days.
like I know some games come out and they hype it so hard that when people play it, it doesn't reach their expectations, like not even close.
No
And then
Man's
they,
Sky.
yeah,
Yeah.
that, and then they talk bad about it, and then nobody wants to play it.
Meanwhile, over at the Anthem booth, BioWare is dying.
Meanwhile, in the
Ooh.
Anthem booth, aka the dumpster fire,
Oof.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard that was bad.
it's burning.
It's not great. Fun fact: it has faster. It has longer load times than Sonic 06.
I
Ugh.
chalk that up to network with connecting to people.
Maybe, but does it need a full minute and a half?
That's a bit extreme,
full
but
minute?
mind you that
Minute and a half.
Mind you that Sonic 06 is a single player game with obscenely long load times. This is a multiplayer game, so I kind of expect longer load times.
But wait, but it's a minute and a half load times, and there's like 4 load times you need to go through just to change your weapon and to test it out.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. Also, it's EA. They shouldn't really have network issues to that degree. Like, come on.
That is rough. People actually bought that?
No,
Yeah.
some people just spent $15 for that Origin access and then played
Oh,
it for
yeah.
free.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
That actually is a smart idea
It is. It is, I guess. Yeah.
because then you didn't waste $15 on Anthem. You can now use that 15. You can now like play any other of the games
With
that they have
access, I mean, you got Titanfall 2 right there.
Yeah,
You could just
have
play a
much,
better game.
You have a much better first person.
You could just play the
shooter.
better game. Titanfall 2, by the way, is booming now because of Apex Legends. Like,
Apex.
Because Apex uses the Titanfall guns, and the Titanfall guns are super fucking good.
and the characters are based off of essentially the grenades in Titanfall 2. Like their kits.
Wait,
Yeah, like Caustic, like his whole thing with like the gas grenades, that's a grenade in Titanfall 2. Like they just built a character around that and made his kit. Same thing with the smoke grenades with
Bangalore.
Bangalore. The grappling hook is his own separate thing in
The grappling hook was the core like advertised ability in Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
So they
But
just
that grappling hook is an optional thing. You don't have to have it. That's a side thing that you can add to your character.
So they just took like items and then made them
Characters.
They made them around.
It's like
and
how
all the
people make,
weapons are from Titanfall 2.
it's like how people make waifus out of like objects like Noosh-chan and Tide-Pon-chan, except let's make
Wait,
these
those are
characters in
called
a video game.
those are called gajinkas. I remember the name.
And then there's the literal gun waifu thing, that gacha game. I forget what it's called, but yeah, that one.
But in case, so they literally just did that for all the abilities. Let's take this ability and just turn it into a character.
Dude, yeah. Gajinkas are great. Actually,
I mean, Wraith is what the Wraith is the phase shift ability from Titanfall 2.
Yeah, it's all there. It's so, and like now there's people thinking that like there's
there's a hologram ability in Titanfall 2?
Yes. It is.
Oh, wow.
It's a perk you got called. It was a thing called Hollow Decoy, where once you activated it, a clone of yourself would split off, and then you had a really powerful version of it, where you press it, and then 4 of your clones will just run off in different directions.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's
the ultimate. That's like the highest level thing in Titanfall 2.
Wow.
Well, I mean, the most powerful thing is when you teleport into a dude's body and he explodes.
That was always. I will appreciate. I do like those kill animations.
Yeah, the kill animations are so good in Titanfall 2.
I think
if you haven't played it, Jake, please do yourself a favor. Play it.
Oh, they're so good because they're custom tailored to your abilities. So if you have a guy with a grappling hook, you
pull a guy in.
Yeah, you grab a guy with a grappling hook, pull him into an
Get over here.
Practically.
Or if you have like the warp ability that Wraith has, you have one where you jump up to a guy, warp, and then like he's looking around confused, and then you warp inside his body and he just blows up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that one's nice.
Which funny enough, if we're using RPG terms, usually you're supposed to be the one to blow up.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, wouldn't you like teleporting inside? Wouldn't the amount of pressure inside of him just fucking kill you instantly?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it should kill. I think it should kill you both.
It's a science. We're talking about science inside of Titanfall 2, where there's giant mechs running around. We should hold back.
No, I mean just like teleporting in general. Like if you teleport inside, I feel like it should kill you both.
Well,
kind of depends.
Yeah. Well, in case that aside, this was a really long fan question.
It was. Thank you, Tyler, so much.
That was awesome.
Tyler, thank you so much for sending in your fan question. If you'd like to send in your question, please email us at weeklydadcast@gmail.com. What's that email, Jacob?
What?
That's weeklydadcast@gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you for sending in your question, Tyler. Appreciate that very much. So now's the part where you go into weeks, guys. Lewis, you're used to weeks and stuff, but Jacob, since it's your first time on here, you're losing your podcast virginity. What did you do this week? I know you don't.
Well, I just don't like the sound of that either.
Actually, this week kind of sucked for me. I was sick all Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Damn.
So I got a really bad fever and I was bedridden. Actually, that's a lie. Wednesday, I ignored what I was supposed to do and played Guild Wars 2 all day.
Look at you lying on the podcast.
For like
wow. Nobody's ever lied on the podcast.
Well, the thing is like Tuesday, I wasn't really completely down. I just felt it really bad, and then I was like, oh gosh, I really need to like take Wednesday, Thursday off from like school and stuff. And then I got up and still got on my computer because I just wanted to hang out with everyone.
I really need to take this day off because I'm feeling sick. But then after in the middle of my fever nap, I heard the sweet callings of Guild Wars. I heard the sweet callings of Guild Wars 2.
Yeah. So and then Thursday, my body just punched me for doing that, and I literally didn't get out of bed all day.
Damn.
Yeah. So I got up 20 levels in Guild Wars 2. Didn't move the
Went
next
down
day.
20 levels in your health in real life.
Didn't move the next day. And then I went to school on Friday and had everybody. apparently people found out that I was playing Guild Wars 2 for 12 hours, so I had a bunch of
How did they find out?
Because I was talking with one of my friends while I was
Our
doing it, and
the
then
school he
told
goes to has a Guild Wars 2 integration in there.
No.
They got the API.
No, because I have my game notifications on Discord on, so they saw and then they saw that I was playing it, and then Will, which is one of my other friends, followed up later on and still saw that I was playing it.
Damn.
And then he told everybody else, so he ratted me out.
Wow.
So were like
Yeah.
teachers upset at you or whatever?
No.
They were like, "Damn, only 20 levels, you bitch."
I'm 31 in the game now. Yeah.
Fucking
But
casual.
yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now. Friday
That's
I
good.
went to school, caught up a lot of my stuff, and then today I'm actually going to D&D around 6.
Oh, okay. So that did turn
It's-
out good. They did
Yeah.
get back to you.
Yeah, they finally responded. So I'm going there 6. The campaign we're actually doing right now is a lot of fun.
That's
What's
good.
it about?
So he created a whole map. Our DM created like a
Mhm.
whole map, and the world that we're in right now is like being attacked by like a bunch of demons and stuff by this guy. He opened like the 9 gates of hell. So we got tasked to go around the world and destroy these gates and find the guy who's really causing this. But what I really like is I made a tiefling, which if you don't know is like a half
y-
demon, half
Yeah.
human. And I'm being like, my whole character was like, I'm being like super discriminated against, and everybody's trying to like kill me because they think I'm a demon and I can't really go into any towns and
Well, they're
everything.
not wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But and then this party, I joined the party because they're like, dude, just join us. We all know you want your revenge. You just want to be human again. Blah blah blah. So yeah, now we just went to this town and we're trying to find out more information. But it's really fun so far. I mean, everybody's role playing a lot, and a lot of the characters are really nice.
That's cool. Awesome.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of fun.
What about your week, Lewis? How'd you do?
My week was pretty busy, but also really fun. I submitted 2 of the major projects that I was working on for my graphic design courses, and those went pretty well. But recently, I got access to a tabletop game that I helped kickstart.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Fun.
Yep, it's a game called Dragons Conquer America, and I kickstarted it. Oh, jeez. I want to say I kickstarted it back in like either my 3rd year of college or my 4th year of college. So, like about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So yeah, I kickstarted that shit a while ago, and they finally released a sort of preview of the final book, because the final book's about to be done. They're just missing some fluff stuff and some artwork, but they didn't want to keep us waiting that much longer, so they sent us all the rules are in place and such. They're just
Okay.
missing artwork and things. So I got access to that, and I sent that to my friends Braden and Peter, so that way we can try and get a test game out to see how it works. And for the basic premise, if any of you like Mesoamerican culture or the age of colonialism, like
Well, you
white-
know how I am with Puerto Rican, so you know.
yeah, you hate them.
Oh God. Okay.
And or if you are at all interested in the era of colonialism, like right before all of America got settled with their first finding, the Native American tribes, that's the time period in this game where all the sort of mythological legends that the different Mesoamerican people had are real life things, and dragons exist. For the tribals, the dragons are the leaders of like entire factions and countries and shit. Whereas in Europe, it's actually pretty funny. Dragons work together with mankind for stuff, because there's a class in the game called the Dragon Rider, and this allows you to play Daenerys from Game of Thrones if you want.
Interesting.
You have to be a female to be a Dragon Rider.
Wait.
You have to be a female noble Christian in order to be a Dragon Rider. And that's important. That is important because religion and magic are intertwined. If you want to be a Catholic priest and cast spells, you have to recite the quote from the Old Testament or the 7 seals or
Jesus.
priest. Yeah, it's super cool. You can
Yeah,
use-
cool's a word.
you point, so like one of the options is you point at a guy, recite the quote about and on there was a pale horse and on its rider was death, and you read the whole quote out, and then that person gets imbued with the aspect of one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, death.
Jesus.
Whoa.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's an
But-
interesting concept.
Yeah, and also the funny thing is that all the European dragons, they were all converted to Christianity by a saint called Saint Sabra, which is why all the dragon riders are female because of her.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Yeah,
this
but
is-
I still love
How
the
much
idea.
did you kickstart?
How much was the Kickstart?
No, yeah, how
25
much
bucks.
did you? Okay, you kickstarted $25. Okay.
$25 to get the PDF.
Oh, the rule
Nice.
book. Okay.
But yeah,
That's,
I don't
that's
know.
pretty cool.
It was just something. It's just something funny to me about like knocking on a dragon's cave, like, "Hello, have you heard of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?"
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
The dragon
Alright.
invites him in to talk. He leaves like, "Thank you," and he has like a the
He's
dragon
been successfully converted.
Yeah, and it's super fun like that. Aside from that, on the topic of tabletop gaming, yesterday, Friday night, I went to the tabletop gaming club for the first time here at my college.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
that's cool.
How'd that
I
go?
met them. It went pretty well. I told them how I was interested in DMing a few games. The president said, "Okay, sure." He sat me down and started questioning me, saying, "What's your DMing style? How many players do you usually like to run? What do you do when you run into a problem player? How do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? How much plan do you put in your games?" He just like went down the line of all these
Oof.
questions. Yeah. First time I ever
Okay.
felt like I was being interviewed over my hobby.
Yeah, you're being interrogated about a hobby.
Yeah, I was
Damn.
being interviewed about my hobby to see if I'm the. No, it was more like an interview because, like, if it doesn't work out, then like I can't DM there.
jeez. That sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, it
So-
does. It shows that he really cares about the people there having fun. So he
Yeah,
scheduled
that's
me.
true.
So this coming Friday, I'm going to make after he does like his little announcement about club activities. He's gonna make it. He's gonna like say, "All right, and here's Lewis. He has something important to tell you all." Hey everybody, I'm Lewis. I want to DM here, and I'd like to run a one shot of 5th edition. And here's the sign up sheet.
5th edition's fun.
Yeah, well, it's the one that they all know about.
Yeah, I mean,
after
I know
I've-
5th edition.
After I've proven myself, like I can do it, then I can start going into the weird shit of all the different odd games I have.
Yeah, 5th edition is what I know best as well, because that's
Yeah.
what we've been doing our campaign in.
You gonna introduce them to Christian lizards?
Yes, I am gonna introduce.
I figured.
James, here's what I'm gonna introduce them to. I'm gonna.
Uh-oh.
They've never heard of Warhammer.
Oh.
They've never heard of Mage. The only games they've done were D&D 5th edition, Pathfinder, Mutants and Masterminds, which is the superhero RPG, and Monster
Right.
Heart. And then one of the
Oh,
guys
wow,
is doing
okay.
the Star Wars RPG, but everything else they've never done. So Mage,
Th-
Warhammer.
Okay, so
Oh.
they never heard of Warhammer, or have they never played Warhammer?
They don't
'Cause-
they don't know anything about the setting or how the
Okay.
rule system works.
Okay, because I don't play tabletop games very often, if at all, and I still know about Warhammer to
Through
some
osmosis
degree.
of being around me.
No, not even. I knew about some stuff about it since before I met you.
That's actually pretty cool because for our next campaign, we're thinking about doing a Warhammer, and I know nothing about Warhammer either.
Just
I don't know
hey,
settings.
Jacob,
Lewis,
Jacob,
he'll
hit
give
me
you a
up,
whole
hit me up
thing.
after this. Hit me up after this. I will spend the next 4 hours.
I can't actually do
give-
that because, as I
him
said,
your
I'm
notebook.
leaving.
Have
I'm
your
leaving.
notebook. Just hit him up on any day. He'll drop whatever he's doing just to talk about Warhammer. Dude.
Yeah.
Just have your notebook ready because you're gonna write a fucking tome of lore.
I mean, but yeah, we're deciding on whether doing like like a cyber type of thing, like futuristic
Cyberpunk.
sci-fi.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Or a Warhammer. So, I
Where
don't
were you going to use the
know.
actual Warhammer system, or are you just going to use the setting?
We were going to actually use the Warhammer system.
Which one?
I don't know. He
Because if
didn't
it's
decide.
fantasy, 4th edition just came out. If you're not going to use 4th edition, don't use 3rd edition. It sucks ass.
Yeah, that's like I don't know if you know much about D&D 3.5.
Yes, I do. I've played quite a bit of 3.5.
I heard that is super difficult.
It's just more complex than 5th edition. It has a lot more content, so you can do a bunch more crazy stuff in it, but it's just more reading.
I heard it
finding
was
out stuff.
really difficult.
The reason why 3rd edition of Warhammer Fantasy sucks is because have you seen the Star Wars Fantasy Flight games or no?
Mm-mm.
So the thing with the Fantasy Flight is that they make you buy special dice. Like you
Wow.
don't roll anything. Any of the dice you use for like D&D you can't use. You have to buy your own dice.
Yeah, that's kind of dumb. I think
Yeah.
it's just. I bet that's just like a system for. To get more
That's
money.
their system. Is that they have their own little icons for success, failures, critical success, and critical failure.
Interesting.
And you
Okay.
have to buy those dice separately. So Fantasy Flight took the Warhammer Fantasy IP for 3rd edition, and they made it that, and no one really liked it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people didn't like it. So if you're
I
gonna
can
do
see
Warhammer,
why.
if you're gonna do Warhammer Fantasy, do either 2nd edition, which if you are, hit me up. I have all the PDFs.
Oh my god. Okay.
I can send you Humble Bundle, man. Humble Bundle had a RPG book bundle,
Okay. Nice.
so I can send you all of those, or 4th edition. In any case, that was my week.
All right.
Okay.
I wasn't here on the podcast last week because my tires decided to blow out after I had a great time hanging out with Stewie at his place. I was driving down the road and there was something in it in my lane and I couldn't change lanes in time and I just
I
ran
remember you
right over
talking
it.
about that. Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Ran right the fuck over it. Had to replace 2 tires, one of which had only recently been replaced earlier this year. $300 right out of my savings. That wasn't fun. Yeah, so I couldn't be on the podcast because I had to go and pick up the tires and then replace them. And by the time I was done with all that, the podcast had been like well into starting. But the good news is that same week, I had gotten a job. I now work for an insurance agency. I'm a woman's assistant at for a sales department of that agency. It's a typical 9 to 5. I work at a desk. I practically get paid to draw on little note cards because
You should see the things he posts
God.
constantly.
In before your boss like just tunes in. What's this DADCast here? Games.
Nah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be super secretive about who I work for and stuff. Like it's not. I don't want to ruin this opportunity, but it was super cool. It's super nice. My boss are pretty nice people. All the people I work with are fun. The work itself is pretty easy. It's just paperwork and sometimes calling a customer to like get some information. Most often it's like, hey, your vehicle identification number didn't go through right. Can we just confirm this and make sure it's all good? The work is super easy, and that's the problem, right? The work is really easy, and I get it done really fast. So most of the time, I'm not doing anything, which is why you see me in the Discord just typing or just posting pictures of dumb shit I've drawn poorly. So it's fun. I make $10 an hour, 37.5 hours a week. I
Can you hook
take
me up with a job like that?
no. Sorry, dog. I can't. This is over in a completely different county.
You get $10 an hour. I wish I could
Jeez.
freaking do that to just draw and work on the side.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a really nice job. I'm really happy for it. My stepdad. I was going in for the interview, in like the day of, and my stepdad asked me like, oh, who are you? Who's interviewing you? And I was like, oh, this company. Is like, oh, this company at this place. I was like, yeah, why? I was like, oh, I know the owner there, and so he calls him up. He's like, hey, my son is coming in for an interview, and then he talks me up a bit. Because they were really looking for somebody who knows how to work a computer very well. Because a lot of it, I'm working with an Access database and like different websites and stuff.
Oh, you're pretty skilled in that area, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I went to school for computer science, and I know
That's what I'm
how
saying.
my
Yeah.
I know my way around a computer a little bit. Like not super heavy IT. Like I'm mostly a software guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were really impressed with my uh resume in that regards, and so they picked me for the interview. And then that's when my stepdad came to call him. It's like, hey, yeah, no, he's real good. And they were like, oh, cool. So I started working there last week, and I just finished my second week here, and I was told that after 30 days, we were going to talk about potentially having me go through the agent course, so I could actually become an insurance agent for the company, which would get me benefits and a raise and
That's
some other stuff.
that's really good. If you get some good clients in there, you can
Mhm.
be making some serious money, dude.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Hopefully, I want to go through that path. It'll be just better for me. Like having the benefits alone is nice because I'm
The
20.
the dumpster arc is coming to a close.
That's what I'm hoping for, but it's you never know. I might fuck it up, but I hope not. I think I'm gonna do
No,
good this
I
time.
hope not too. It would really suck to see
And
you in a
before
rough
Claude
situation again.
sabotages the whole thing. Um,
Goes to your work and starts just telling everyone the stuff you do.
yeah, like hey, it just fucking finds my boss online and just sends any link to the
Oh
podcast.
my
Any
god.
link, any title, really.
Dude, I was reading some of the titles.
The titles are the best, my favorite part of the podcast, and the best part is that they're all quotes. All of them are quotes.
Wait, they're
Um,
all quotes. That's even
yeah,
better.
yeah. If you listen to any podcast, the word the phrase will be in the podcast somewhere. I don't. It doesn't matter who says it. It'll be there.
Do you
Black.
usually do your titles at the end?
Yeah. What I usually like to do is one of the guys will be like, "Hey, I really liked this quote," and then I'll look through them and I'll listen to them and I'll be like, "Yeah, okay, this quote, these are all good," and I'll pick whichever one I like the most. Um, yeah, just I've been really enjoying this job. It's real nice. It's real cozy. And then other than that, I just got Yakuza Kiwami, which is the remake of Yakuza 1, which unfortunately does not include the English dub featuring what's his name? Who plays Luke Skywalker?
That's
Who is it?
oh fuck.
I
How
have
can I?
no
How did I?
idea.
How am I drawing?
He also plays the Joker.
Yes, I know. I
I
know
know.
the guy.
Well anyway, that actor, he voice acts your the not the main antagonist but your rival character in Yakuza 1 in the English dub. And there's a bunch of big name actors in the English version, and it's so fucking weird and off-putting because it's clearly a game that takes place in Japan.
Mark Hamill. How
Mark
could I not
Hamill.
fucking? How did I forget Mark
It
Hamill?
man, it happens. But yeah, Mark Hamill plays a Japanese man, and he sounds just like the Joker, which fits because the character is very Joker-esque. In
Is it
terms of
Majima?
yeah, he plays Majima.
I knew Mark Hamill played someone because my friend Ian is
Yeah.
huge in the Yakuza
Yakuza.
games. He's
Yeah,
played every single one and 100%. He's 100%
great.
at every single one, which is the scary part.
I'm so glad you guys pronounce it right, because
What?
Yakuza.
yes, dude, that's what they
Yakuza.
say, and it hurts me.
Yakuza.
It hurts
No, I'm
me.
a member of the Yakuza. Anyway, but yeah, by the way, Yakuza Kiwami came out on PC along with Yakuza 0. Please buy those games. Please, we need more fucking Yakuza ports. Please, for the love of God, let Yakuza be good on PC. The ports are good, I promise. They're only $20. Please buy them. Please.
I don't know if you're a reputable person to be claiming the quality of
No,
the
please,
port.
no. Well, if you can't trust me, Pat Boyven from the Super Best Friends, he loves them too. Please buy them. Please buy them. They're so good. They need to be on PC. They need to
I
be on
have to
PC.
remind you, I don't have any money.
If they're $20, dude, you can suck dick for $20. It's okay, dude.
I
Do whatever you have to do.
I told you I was saving up for God Eater 3.
Get a better Japanese.
No, here's the thing. No, here's the thing. When you get up to 25, buy Final Fantasy 15 on PC because it's only $25.
No.
I actually tried Final Fantasy 15 because my dad got it. And
Really?
Your dad got it? No.
Really?
Yeah.
What,
Yeah,
is he super into like the Final Fantasy franchise?
Yeah,
or is
he likes the Final Fantasy franchise.
Oh, that's cool.
So he got it.
I always like it when like there are older people who enjoy older video games.
Well,
Yeah,
remember, he was born in 2002. His dad was probably born in the 80s.
Oh, my
Fair
dad
enough.
was born way before the.
What,
How
you
old
a
is
late
his
baby?
father? Oh, he's a late baby for sure. If his dad wasn't born in the 80s.
Yeah, my dad is like 53.
Ooh, so he's born in the 70s, and he's into
Wow,
Final
my mom's
Fantasy.
older than you. Fuck.
Dude, his
Yeah.
dad was 20 when he was playing Final Fantasy. Then, holy shit,
Wow.
Yup.
that's weird.
True dedication right there.
That's
That's a weird boomer.
Yeah. Um, But yeah, he bought it and he got into it, and then I tried to play it. Wasn't really my thing, but
That's fine.
Yeah, I dropped it too, to be honest. I got annoyed by the characters and like the
I've come up with
combat.
a new recipe. I've come
Yeah,
up
I
with a
hate
new
that.
recipe.
I hate the quips. I hate the quips.
the combat was fine. I liked the like intuitivity of it, but
I didn't. It felt like it felt like an unnecessarily streamlined Kingdom Hearts game, and
mm,
that it's like just hold the button, and I hate that. I hate just holding the button. I want to
mm,
feel like I'm doing something.
yeah.
That's understandable.
But yeah, so yeah, buy the Yakuza games, everybody. They're so good. They're so fucking fun. Yakuza Kiwami just came out. It's $20. Get it on PC. Get
Everyone, buy Yakuza games because they're rad.
Dude, they're so rad, and he
they're-
says they're rad.
What
I
even,
know,
like,
James,
what's the
James, I
style?
watched my friend play through
The
Yakuza.
style?
Know about that's rad.
Is it like a fighting type of?
Okay, so it's a 3D game where the combat is a brawler, right? And you have
Okay.
no, hold on. And in Yakuza Kiwami, they introduced a new a new fighting style thing where you have 4 styles and they all level up in differently and stuff.
Mhm.
But the story of Yakuza is like a mix between Japanese like drama and wacky Japanese comedy.
And going into the softcore porn lounge.
Well, yeah, that's the
Oh.
comedy. So the main story is this
Okay.
really dramatic drama, right? You know, Kiryu was in jail for 20 years because he took the rap for his best friend killing a guy because that guy molested their mutual friend, right? So he takes the rap and he's in prison for 20 years. He comes back in like the early 2000s and he's like, "Wow, this is weird. What's a cell phone?"
What's a cell phone?
he gets imprisoned in the like early 90s and he comes back in 2001 or something.
No, he'd be coming back in like
20 hold on.
2010.
Yeah, 20 years.
Oh yeah.
90s.
Oh well. So no, wait, no.
Math is
He
hard.
gets him. Sorry, he gets imprisoned in the 80s. Then he gets imprisoned in the
That
80s.
would make sense.
Okay.
And and he's like 40 now and doesn't have a job. He's like shit. So and like that's the first game, right? And then the second game you have stuff like, oh well, hold on, wait, I don't actually know a whole lot about the second game, but like anyway, so yeah, that's the main story of Kiwami, where he's back in Japan after 20 years in prison and has no idea what's happened in between, right? But his mutual friend has apparently disappeared again. And he's like, shit, well, I have to find her. What the fuck happened? But then you go into the side stories where it's like, yeah, I'll buy this kid porn. He's like he really wants this thing for the vending machine because he sees all the adults like ogling it all the time, and then you go over to the vending machine after already telling the kid you're going to buy it, and you're like, oh, these are porno mags. That's porno mags in here.
There's a bunch of just fun stuff you can do on the side because my friend Ian showed me as well. There's like a gaming parlor where there's a bunch of old Sega games that you can play.
Yep, bunch of old Sega games, and one of the later ones you can literally play Virtua Fighter, like Virtua Fighter 5.
Okay.
And you can go to a convenience store and read manga. There's one of them, I think it's number 1 has like a copy of Berserk in it, like the first chapter of Berserk. And just stuff like that. Like it's like a Japanese life simulator
So
mixed
like
with
you're actually part of the gang.
Yeah, you're a member of the Yakuza. Like that's a thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like
but
you're actually
Kiryu's
part
like
of the gang.
Yeah, but Kiryu's like the romanticized aspect of the Yakuza, where he has to face off against the dark side of the Yakuza, essentially. Kiryu canonically has not killed anybody, despite the fact that you are like picking up entire motorcycles and beating people to death with it.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the combat is super fun. And then
It's so brutal.
The way you get different fighting styles is you literally just watch someone beat someone up in a weird way, and you just go, "That's rad!" And then you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think in one of the Yakuza, I don't remember the Yakuza game, but in one, the way you get like the savage animal fighting style, where you're fighting with your claws and shit, is just you just see a really you see an angry woman like attack a man who tried to attack her, and like he sees her fighting with her claws and shit and scratching. He was like, "That's rad!" And then he got the animal claw fighting style.
Exactly. And they adopted all and that was in Yakuza 0 where they introduced those 4 fighting styles. Because before in Yakuza games you just had the one style and you just learned to moves, right? Because these were PS2 games. But then when they made Yakuza 0 for the PS4, they were like, okay, well, we have to make this like kind of different. So they made four fighting styles, right? And then your last one is like your main fighting style from the first games, the originals. And Yakuza 0 is like a prequel to everything else. So of course, in Kiwami, he has all those fighting styles still there. But then you're in prison for 20 years, so you kind of forget all of your moves, but you
They
still
do
have
the
those
Sky. They
basic
do
stuff.
the Skyrim thing. Where spending so much time in jail, your skill level decreased.
Exactly, but you still have the 4 moves. You just have to redevelop all those skills. But it really, yeah, the way they made Yakuza 0, it really actually still fits very well in
That
everything.
makes no sense. How would you lose it?
Well, I mean,
we-
you don't
you can-
practice.
You don't practice for 20 years, right? Because you're in prison and you're trying to get like be well behaved because your
Like Jacob, think
Yakuza
about it this
dad
way.
tells you please behave.
Like Jacob,
Okay.
Jacob, think about it this way: you spend a good portion of your life, like drawing, right? You think you become pretty good. Then you spend 20 years not being able to draw.
Yeah, but you can still like air fight. Like I don't.
In prison? In
Yeah.
Japanese prison? No.
They don't tie you up, do they?
No, but I mean
Not anymore. That was something that changed 60 years ago.
yeah, but yeah, just the like in the context of the game, he was specifically told, "Hey, you have to behave, so you can get off."
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he took the rap for a very high profile murder.
Mhm.
Like it was a different member. It was a high profile member of a different Yakuza family. And it's like shit. Well, that's fucked.
So not causing any trouble because they could easily escalate it.
Exactly. And like he was also a well-known member of the family, so it's like people in prison are like trying to fuck with him anyway. So he's like, I can't, I gotta not.
Yeah, you got to be careful what you do. Okay, that makes sense then. Because
Yeah.
like on a normal circumstances, like I feel like with a fighting style, you don't need an opponent, an opponent to like
Practice. Yeah, you could very easily just like practice on your own time, but like
Yeah,
in
but if he
prison
was
and
trying-
all
I
that
don't
stuff.
think you'd be able to practice all your moves.
No, you can't
For
practice
over
the
20
savage style where you're trying to throw a motorcycle and shit. You can't practice that in prison.
All right.
But yeah, the Yakuza games are super good. Please get Kiwami. I need Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is out in Japan right now.
I feel like
need
you're-
that on PC in a year.
I feel like you're doing like an argumentative like speech right now or a persuasive speech.
Do what it is. It's
Trying to
all
wrap it
shit.
up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jacob, you might like Yakuza. I'd say like watch some gameplay footage and see if it's right for you. But definitely watch the footage of the side stories, because side stories are how you kind of level up your character in a lot of ways. And that's like one of the main thing. Like Yakuza always gets compared to GTA 5, but it's nothing like GTA 5. GTA 5 is a broad lake with little depth. Yakuza is a small pond with infinite depth.
I have
Well,
heard.
in terms of
That
content.
was, I must say, that was an interesting week, Jacob.
That
was, oh, that was your week, right?
that was
That
my
was
week,
a
yeah.
very interesting week.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got really excited.
Yakuza.
Fucking so normally what would happen now at this point, Jacob, is we would have the waifu cast, and then we would have the stuff we'd have on the docket. But because not a whole lot of big stuff happened during the week, there was one big event that happened, and that was Reggie Fils-Aime's body is finally ready for retirement.
Yeah, I saw that, and I saw the
Yeah.
message as well.
Like
It's
that was
so good.
such
It was such a heartfelt message.
It
like,
was
I was
so
like, oh my god,
heartfelt, and it's so genuine.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I only recently like learned about Reggie, and that was only due to like the past like that was when we reacted to the Gamescom.
Yeah,
Like I think
I
2
remember
or
that.
3 years ago, and I
Mhm.
saw Reggie for like Nintendo, and it was like, oh, Reggie. Like people kept talking about him, so I actually looked him up. It's like, oh, that's really cool. And now he's retired.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
how long
he
has
does
he been in that
not-
position?
He's been on there since the Wii. He was there. His quote, "My body is ready," is from
Wow.
when he did the Wii Fit, when he showed off the Wii Fit originally.
Holy
Like, remember the
bejeebus.
board? That's what he said right before he
Yeah.
stepped on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's been here for a long
And I
ass
gotta say,
time.
he's retiring at 57. He does not look
He
57.
doesn't. He
He's
looks 40.
57.
Yeah, dude, the Wii Fit worked.
It really did.
Oh my gosh.
So he's
Yeah, he
stepping
does
down,
not
and
look 57.
I believe he's stepping down in April is when it's officially
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. In April, he is stepping down, and then Bowser will
Yeah,
be
Doug
not
Bowser.
the Mario character Bowser,
Doug Bowser,
but Doug
is
Bowser.
stepping up.
And
I love
I
his
gotta
comment
say,
in the video. He's like,
yeah,
"Who
with a
better
name
to
like
take my
Bowser.
place? Yeah, who better to take my place
Yeah.
than with a name like
Have you ever
Bowser?"
did you see when Doug Bowser commented?
No, I
'Cause
didn't.
There's a portion where Doug comments, and then in his office, like he has all the Nintendo stuff. He has a Mario and Luigi.
Yeah,
like,
he has them tied
doll-
up.
and they're
Yeah.
tied up. They're tied up.
Cute.
And like whenever he's been on press releases, he has like a yellow like Team Bowser jacket that has like
Yeah.
Team Bowser on his back.
Oh my
It's like
gosh.
he loves his job. I can tell, and he's
He's also been around for a while too.
He's also been a while for a long time. But yeah, like all of our hopes and good prayers and such go with you, Reggie. You've been a really great guy. I'm so sad to see you leave.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Reggie,
that
if you're watching this podcast,
God, I'm gonna tweet this moment at Reggie, and I want him to respond. Please, Reggie.
Dude.
Not even for a meme. Reggie, you're great. You're so
Reggie,
fucking
you are
awesome.
you are the best person.
Oh man.
Okay. Yeah, he
Um,
definitely is an awesome guy. I didn't know him too much myself, but from what
I don't think any
from
of
what
us
I saw-
knew him
Nah,
really
but
well.
No, I mean just like
regardless.
even like I never really watched his, conferences and things he did. I didn't see him, but when I even just seeing that message, it was just I felt
you can
the
feel it.
sincerity. Yeah.
I've been watching like stuff with Reggie in it for a long time now. Like obviously the Wii Fit moment, the puppet fights with Iwata before he passed. Really, Reggie's just been a really key aspect of Nintendo, especially like Nintendo of America, obviously, and all that advertising and branding involved with that. He's been really a key component of like pushing that Nintendo is a family company. They care about their audience. Everything. So it sucks to see him leave, but I'm really happy that he gets to leave on his terms at the top.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Best of luck to him in his future endeavors, whatever he chooses to do with his time now that he's not with Nintendo.
He did say a little bit about what he was gonna do.
He was
hang
gonna
out with
be with his
family.
family.
Yeah.
Right.
Friends and just relax.
Live.
I mean, his
Live.
life is
He's
set.
loaded. He's
His,
gonna be fucking
yeah,
loaded.
his life is set. He doesn't need to do anything.
He's gonna be living off that sweet Nintendo money.
Practically with his
all the money that
retirement.
comes, all that ad revenue that's taken from the YouTubers is going right in.
Love it. So there wasn't a whole lot of other stuff out that happened. I mean, there was the Darkest Dungeon 2 teaser that happened.
That's not just nothing. That is
See,
fucking
I did see
big.
that. I did see that, but I never looked into it.
So there's not much that's been released. All that we know is that Darkest Dungeon 2 is coming out, but there's been a bunch of stuff that people have been liking about. So the main thing was, so as you know, Darkest Dungeon takes inspiration from the Cthulhu mythos and Lovecraft. It's not just Lovecraft, just because to give him full props would be a bit much, but they take a lot of inspiration for that. This one, many people are saying, "Welcome to the Mountains of Madness."
Yeah, because snowy mountain range, and and you can
Yeah.
see some Cthulhu ass shit in those mountains.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, to those of you brave souls who actually dare to try and read the Mountains of Madness, I think you might be in for a good hint. For those of you who haven't read Mountains of Madness, don't bother because that is one wordy as hell fucking book.
It's pretty rough, but
Yeah, let me tell you what. So by the way, real quick about Darkest Dungeon, the ancestor, the announcer for Darkest Dungeon, great, like the iconic voice.
Mhm.
His name is Wayne Jude. If you ever wanted to listen to the Lovecraft books, Wayne Jude, the announcer and narrator for Darkest Dungeon, has a YouTube channel where he does audiobooks of the Lovecraft
So you just
books.
read the whole thing?
No, not the Mountains of Madness. No, dear God. No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's
I listen. I listened to him do the Shadow over Innsmouth, which was great. Shadow over Innsmouth is relatively short. It's like maybe 2.5 hours of him reading. He did the Call of Cthulhu in like 9 episodes. Each one was about like maybe 30, 45 minutes. I looked up the audiobook of The Mountains of Madness. That shit went on for 7.5 hours of reading. I don't think I can. I don't think I deal with that. Like I think of myself as a book connoisseur, and I love to read. But even that, like I read all 5 Game of Thrones books. I read a whole bunch of shit. That seems like a bit much.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
In any case, really looking forward to see what they do for Darkest Dungeon 2.
Yeah, I'm excited too. God,
I actually didn't get into Darkest Dungeon. My friend, however, was really big on it, so I did see a lot of gameplay and did hear a lot about it, but I never played it myself.
I recommend getting it. Do you have an iPad?
Well, the reason I'm kind of hesitant on getting it is because I'm not really big on like kind of like the dark stuff. Like I'm not really big on like horror. Like
It's not really
really
horrific.
horror.
It's not like their art style makes that way. Like it's
Like the art design is grim.
The art
but
design
it's
is
not like a
grim,
horror game.
but it's not dark. Grim
okay.
dark.
Yeah.
Like,
It's got like a Dark Souls aesthetic at most, but it's not like it's not a horror game. It's a turn-based RPG.
There's like no visceral sort of like horror to it.
Yeah.
The only horror is going to be your personal stress levels as like shit happens to you in the game.
Yeah.
And also, don't believe all the haters who say it's an RNG based game. It's not. Just get good.
And besides, there's an easy mode for you too. So I mean,
Yes, there is.
there is actually an easy mode. So like,
Yeah,
they
I
kind of
know.
reduce that stress a bit.
But hey, if you want, like, take a look on Steam, take a look on Humble Bundle, see if it ever goes on sale. If not, if you have an iPad, I believe they released it for iPad as well, so you can have it on the go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
just check and see. It's a really, really fun. If you ever find yourself like, if you have a laptop, get on your laptop and on like those long drives or plane rides or train rides, whatever, just open up some Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, hopefully not while you're driving though. Please.
Hopefully not while you're driving.
Speaking about that, I actually I'm thinking about getting my license soon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I still need my permit, but it's a work in progress. But I'm planning to take the test soon and I'm gonna do well. So that's gonna be fun.
I wish you the best of luck.
I already have I've had my car for like ever and it's there. I just haven't put the time to actually doing it, and yeah, I need to, especially if I'm going into, if I'm going to be going to like college more and everything. I'm going to need to drive myself. And
Would be
if I
helpful.
want a job too.
Yeah, having a job kind of requires a car unless you live
Yeah,
next to the job.
Yeah. I don't want people driving me everywhere. I already have to do that enough.
So, in addition, what do we else have here? Oh, this is an interesting one.
Well, I was actually. What were you gonna say?
I was reading that it's interesting that how Fallout 76's launcher, it only uninstalls the DOTC, not the 50 gigabytes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's a nice old reset the clock. They just released their roadmap for development and stuff, and I forgot Fallout 76 was a game that they can't just abandon. Because when I look at it and I hear all the news, it's like, man, this game is gonna get abandoned so soon, and they're like, wait, it's Bethesda. They literally can't. They just can't do that yet.
Why can't they?
Well, I mean, I guess technically they can, but it's not one of those games where it's like low profile enough for you to be able to do that. Like they did that for Mass Effect Andromeda because the studio folded, but Bethesda isn't going to fold on Fallout 76, and they can't really just. It's weird. They could technically do it, but Bethesda isn't really in a position to where they can and get away with it.
They don't have the financial stability to.
It's not even that. I'm sure they could do it. It's just I feel like it's one of those things where it's like the game is so big now and it's got so much bad press to it that like just abandoning it entirely would
it would even hurt their reputation
even worse. Yeah. They have and it's their only game that they have to actively support other than the MMO until the new shit comes in like 2 years. So, they have to have something. My thing was, Jake, you like gacha games, right? Did you hear about the Square Enix Last Idea game coming out?
No.
Well, Square Enix announced their gacha mobile game called Last Idea.
Okay.
It's a treasure hunting game. I don't really know a whole lot about it. I just saw the original trailer. It looks pretty. Maybe
What's
you'll
it?
like it.
What's it? Wait. So like, what's it based on? Is it original or
It's an
like
original IP
it's
by
original? Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's just called Last Idea.
I might have to
Clear.
check it out. I'm not like massively big on gacha games. I just have a couple that I enjoy.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I'll definitely check it out. I
Okay,
mean,
because
I
I
try to
want
stay
I want the
informed with that
report
kind
by
of stuff.
Monday. I need at least 3 pages with sources.
That's a lot. I still got college homework to do.
Chicago
Push a lot of.
Chicago format, please.
No,
Um,
can I do an MLA? No,
no,
Chicago.
it's gotta be Chicago. I'm sorry. It's just the way we do things here at the Dadcast.
That's horrible. No.
Um, yeah, I mean there wasn't a whole lot of other big things. There was the weird shit with PUBG Mobile having an RE2 crossover. There was the thing I'm excited for, which is the Skullgirls Second Encore having a limited edition coming to Switch, which includes a vinyl record for you with the OST on it. This is another one for me. Was Guilty Gear's having a 20th anniversary edition coming to the Switch and also PS4, but the Switch version is the thing that is the only version that has all the content. PS4 is missing one of the games. But yeah, that was the big thing. So I guess we'll just move on straight to the big discuss. I had a weird news, but it was basically just Ariana Grande and some political guy on the news
Oh
had a dinner
gosh.
date. I think it was Bill Hannity. I think Bill Hannity and
I-
Ariana Grande went on a weird dinner date, and they had fun together. I couldn't tell you why, but whatever. So our big
Yeah, see
discuss.
that's kind of interesting because like I don't know either of those people, so
It's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Ariana Grande was a Nickelodeon star.
Yeah, I mean I recognize the name, but I couldn't put a face to it or like anything they've done.
Okay. Um.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't admit that, but yeah.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Big discuss is big discuss this week is favorite game of all time.
Favorite game? You know, I like that. I like that.
Lewis, what's
Um,
your favorite game of all time?
Fuck.
I'll
you
go
gotta hit him
first.
with that.
I'll go first while Lewis struggles. My favorite game of all time is Nier Automata.
Scrolls through my 250 library on Steam.
I've got you beat, buddy. I'm at 273.
I have like 10.
Damn, look at this dude with no
Look at this dude. Look at
no
this dude.
income. No income.
Look at this no income having ass.
Imagine
No
not having disposable income.
Yeah, imagine
This
not
meme was
having
made. This meme was made by the Job Game.
imagine not having 3 digits worth not reaching your 3 digits in Steam games.
This was made by the PC Master Race Gang. My favorite game is
See.
Nier Automata.
Oh yeah, I
I bought that.
actually played that.
Same here. I bought it at launch, and there was a specific moment where I stopped the game, and then because I was on a specific screen that I didn't want to leave, and I waited until my roommate came back from work 5 hours later to show him, and I was like, "Look at this
Oh
screen," and we marked the
my
fuck out
God.
about it, and we loved it. It was so good.
You waited
Um,
5 hours to show him one scene.
Yeah.
But that's why
Jake,
Steam has this thing called the F12 screenshot.
Yeah,
I
just
was playing on
screenshot it.
I was playing on PS4.
PS4 has the option to screenshot.
Wait, yeah, they
No,
do.
but I needed him to see it like in person and like to move forward.
Go and take a picture of it with your phone, send it to him. Hey, look.
No, he needed to see
It's
it.
James
in
we're
person.
talking about.
Yeah,
He
he
had
doesn't-
to
No,
do it.
Jake, have you beaten the game?
No, I actually stopped playing it because, as I told you, I really only stick to like 3 games.
Of all the games you had to stop, you stopped at Nier. Really?
Yes, and
You're
See,
actually terrible.
I'm more upset than you right now because I spent like $60 on it.
You really should have just beaten that game because it's definitely a game worth beating.
I mean, I'll go back to it one day, but the
No, you won't.
controls just feel so wonky. Like I
How,
just,
dude? It's a character action game. How does it feel wonky?
I don't know. It's just like the camera and
You
the
can move the
feel of
camera
it.
back
Yeah.
or for closer if you want.
But you can stare at an amazing ass the entire game. How did that not
Yeah. Why?
Well,
why would I zoom
see,
it
the
in?
problem is that 2B looks like a grown woman, so Jacob wasn't into it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. But that's
Get it
my
for
favorite
PC
of
so
all
you can
time.
get
That's
the
why I
child mod.
stopped right there.
Get the child.
the
Oof. Ew.
lolly mod to turn the 2B into a lolly.
Don't do this to me, please. Don't do this to me.
Sorry, but this thing's getting demonetized.
This podcast that isn't monetized.
The unmonetized podcast is getting demonetized.
Soon enough, though, I'm working on something. It might be monetized soon enough.
Are we gonna get
But
ads in
as
it?
soon as it gets monetized, it's going to get demonetized because of the lollies.
All the lolly talk.
Jacob, what's your favorite game of all time?
My favorite game. Okay, so I want to say it's gonna be the game I put the most time into, which was For Honor.
Really?
Yeah, I put over 2,000 hours
Oh,
into
fuck.
For Honor.
man.
Literally, okay, it was insane. So like I bought it when it first came out. I actually was part of the game when it was in closed beta. So
You were part of the beta?
I was playing the game for so long. Yeah. And then it came in and I got super good at the game. I was even playing in like tournaments and all that. And then I don't know, just like I think just a lot of like school stuff came up and
That's usually what happens.
I just kind of like stopped playing it. And then I tried to go back to it and I didn't like what they did. I didn't like all the changes they had. Like I even bought the DLC for the characters and the new mode they added, and I just didn't like the combat system that they changed. It didn't feel as smooth as it did before. The new balance changes, I just didn't really like it. But it was the summer when Pokemon Go came out.
Oh.
That But that's when I didn't while everybody else was doing that, I was literally my day consisted of sleep for 4 hours, get up, play For Honor the entire day, sleep, get up, play For Honor. That's how I put 2,000 hours into it. Did that for the entire summer. By the time I knew it, summer was over, dude. But I'd have to say that was my favorite game. I loved the combat system. I loved all the freaking. I loved how you could just read your opponent and then just like outplay them. And it was so easy to grasp, but you constantly learned better ways to counter opponents and all that. But it was such a simple system to just get into.
So I was also part of the closed beta for Honor, and I, like you, like stopped playing it after
Hmm.
like a portion. So I stopped right at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
That kind of was fairly on. The reason why was because the fucking Centurion.
Yeah, see, the whole thing with Centurion is like he was really strong in the beginning, but then he got nerfed into the ground.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I wasn't around for the nerf. I was like, I
Yeah.
just didn't like fighting this guy because it was almost
Mhm.
always I fought teams of 2 to 3 Centurions.
Oh yeah, you will.
Also,
You will.
you know how they say like this this person, or whenever you find an enemy that you have trouble dealing with, like they're making a direct attack onto your frame rate or whatever. Like, because it just happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
My issue was all Centurions made a direct attack to my fucking eardrums. Because
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Because
Keep moving.
anytime it did like his punches or like his
Yes,
things,
dude.
it was so much louder than everything else. It would actually disorientate me.
I died laughing because I was playing that game when they first came out with my friends, and the Centurion punch actually blew out my friend's headphones and broke them. I died
Wow.
laughing because it literally he was playing and I just hear boom like from his side and I was like Will, and then his headphones were just done.
Literal direct assault on your audio drive.
His headphones blew out, dude. I died laughing that day. And then they fixed it.
And then they
yeah.
fixed it, but at the point I left, and then I came back.
Uh-huh.
Like I came back during season 4 to 5. I was like, I don't know how to fucking play this game.
Yeah.
And there's a
Yeah,
bunch of
they
new
changed
people.
it
I
so
don't know their
much. Yeah.
shit.
They changed it so much. Like, it's so hard to get into now.
Yeah, you have
I
to. It's
just-
a game you have to constant. We now have to put in a bunch of effort to catch up.
To get back into it. Yeah, it was so difficult. Like when I picked it up again, it also I really have that bad thing with like if I stop playing something and then I come back and I'm not as good as I was when I stopped, I just get frustrated out of my mind. That's why I stopped playing Osu for the longest time because I stopped playing for like a month or two, came back and I couldn't even play like 3-star
Same,
songs.
man. Same. Like I came back to For Honor. I was like, okay, this is good. I got frustrated because like I know that it's going to be nothing but losses for a long period of time before getting. It's like I'm not going to deal with this. I will hold For Honor as a dear memory in my heart.
Yep.
And kindly press the uninstall button.
Yeah. That was my whole thing too. It's just like I didn't have the time and I didn't want to be frustrated for as long to get back into it.
Sorry, I was just drinking a little bit of something.
Wow, really? Drinking on my podcast?
God forbid we have,
but you can't be drinking right now.
God forbid we neglect one of our basic human principles to survive.
Look, I make Skylar stop eating on the podcast, and he's diabetic. He is actually diabetic, by the way.
I didn't know
I don't make him stop eating, but I do have him mute every time.
Yeah, I didn't know
the
that.
whole sausage on podcast, and I'm just here. Yeah, no. It's like, Sky, you make editing the podcast the worst experience. Please mute.
Oh.
No, you amplify it, dude.
In any case, as for me, I suppose my if I'm gonna go based on like what game I've played the most, funny enough, looking at my Steam library, there's one game that surpassed my most recent
Heroes,
one
Hearts
right
of
now.
Iron.
No, not Hearts of Iron.
Crusader Kings.
I've not even played Crusader Kings that long.
Civilization.
No.
Payday 2.
No.
Warcraft.
No.
Kingdom Hearts.
No.
Dragon Ball Z. Budokai Tenkaichi 2.
You're getting farther away from games I like and play.
Oh my god.
Fuck.
I don't think you're gonna
Nekapara.
be able to get it.
Is it Nekapara Volume 0?
No. So here's the thing.
It's funny because I was gonna mention that when you were talking about Yakuza
So
0.
here's the funny
Stop
thing.
it.
Here's the funny thing. You actually listed my number 8 highest game on my list.
Oh,
Which
Nekapara
is-
Volume 0 is your number 8?
No, Hearts of Iron 4. No, Hearts of Iron 4 is.
Okay.
That one I have at 97 hours. But the game I had I had the most hours in Total War Warhammer at 220 hours. But Monster Hunter World topped that recently to 229.
Nice.
So I think we're gonna have to give it to Monster Hunter World and just the Monster Hunter franchise in general because it's so good. I'm still upset that we're not getting the same love as our consoles.
No. Wait, we're not? Oh, that's
No.
right, because the PC version's behind, isn't it?
It's behind by a few months.
Ooh, that's
We're not getting Iceborne until the beginning of the next year, whereas console is gonna get it in the fall.
Ooh.
The console has fucking Geralt and the Witcher
Yeah, that's
stuff,
right.
and we're not getting that for several months.
That's
I
rough.
forgot. Yeah, it is.
Well, you know what they say, PC Master Race.
It's so weird, right? Like PC Master Race is real in that like you can mod things and like you typically have better, like you have more advantages than disadvantages, but when you have a disadvantage on between versions,
rough.
it's always
Yeah.
the roughest. It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I have my big titty handler mod, so I'm happy with that.
Sauce.
I'll DM it to you.
Thanks.
Oh,
Funny enough,
gosh.
my friend Dallas, like he got Monster Hunter World as well. Literally, the first picture I sent to him was the fucking big titty handler. It's like that's the first fucking message I ever sent to this guy is the handler.
Hey.
And then the second message I sent him was a wife beating meme.
Oh my god! Wait, what?
Okay,
Jesus.
okay. So here's a running joke.
Lewis
right?
is Puerto
There's
Rican.
a monster.
you
There's a
can't
monster in
blame
the
him.
game. There's a
Oh,
monster in the game
okay.
called the Kuve Taroth, right? She's an event monster, and you have this whole giant. She's covered in gold. Imagine like a salamander, a big lizard with
Mhm.
covered in gold with giant ram horns, and that's her. And your objective is to break her horns off. But along the way, like you break all the gold off her body because you get progress points to level up the siege level, and the higher
Mhm.
your siege level, the easier it is to break stuff. The more time you have.
Mhm.
When it's confirmed she's a female. It's always referred to as her. It's never ubiquitous. It is a she. So the very first time we did it, I was getting so pissed off. I started bringing up 1950s and 40s fucking the wife beater lines, and oh boy, did it go badly. Like I was saying some horrible shit. Like, you know the meme about how men in the 40s and 50s treated their wives?
What meme? You mean reality?
Well, you know, like how people talked about how men talked to their wives and treated their wives in the 40s and 50s? I was living that out during this fucking siege because it was so frustrating. And that became sort of my own personal meme. And
And then you sent it to him.
so yes, and then I sent him because it's a picture of the Kuver Taroth and just a man with his belt out in his hand,
Oh my god.
and that's it. And I just had to send that because that's now become what I'm known for when it involves the Kuver Taroth. That little side story, yeah. So Monster Hunter World, probably my favorite game come out. I really, really like the series.
It's fun. It's one of those games where like I want to get more into it, but I have to be in a mood or something.
Here you go, James.
Thanks, Lewis. I appreciate that. Thank you. Maybe now I'll have the motivation to play the game.
Oh my god.
Oh,
That's all
jeez.
James wants.
That's a busty handler.
There you go.
Wow, wow, those are wide hips. Like, weirdly wide.
There you go, Jacob. You too. Everyone get in on this. Post
Everybody-
this. Post this.
everybody
put this,
gets it.
put this picture up on the DADCast.
Yeah. So that's the thumbnail. No. But yeah.
I mean, you weren't lying.
It's
That's
definitely
for
not.
sure.
All right, so that's my favorite game.
All right. Well,
What's next?
awesome. I think that's a good place to end it. It's about 5:49 right now, so Jake has to get ready for his D&D game and stuff anyway.
Yeah, I gotta head
So-
out.
Okay.
Appreciate
real-
that.
Hey, no problem. So real quick, let me just get through my shilling real quick. Hey everybody, thank you for listening to the podcast. This has been James, Lewis, and Jacob here. This is the Weekly DADcast. We upload every Monday morning at weeklydadcast.podbean.com. There will be some news coming very soon on something on the platform updating, but I will reveal that later at a different time. If you like our stuff, please check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/weeklydadcast. If you'd like to send in your fan questions, as always, weeklydadcast@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter, twitter.com/weeklydadcast. We have a Patreon if you'd like to support us. Every small amount helps. We only take donations of $1 though. So, $1 on patreon.com/dadcast. All of the money goes towards getting better equipment and hosting the podcast on the platform that we use, which is currently weeklydadcast.podbean.com. We also have a YouTube channel, but where you can find archives of the different stuff that we've had. There's some YouTube exclusive stuff there, like the stream archive of everybody watching the E3s the past like 2 years. We've done it. And yeah, so that's the shilling essentially, all said and done. So thank you again for watching the Weekly Dadcast. I've been your host, James. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Jacob, both for coming this week. You guys were excellent guests. Very much appreciate it.
I'm
Yeah,
always an
I had a-
excellent guest.
I had a lot of fun too. It's a
Awesome.
new experience for me. So
Well, we'll
That's
hope to have you on again sometime, and in case you ever want, just hit me up. We'll talk about it.
Sure thing.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.
Hey, it's up to us to take out Umbrella.